What's up, Greek gods and goddesses? Anabolic philosopher here today with another video about stretching. Stretching is probably one of the most underrated parts of lifting, and not a lot of people cover it, but I want to talk about it. So for those of you who checked out my leg video, you guys saw that in my first set of squats, they were horrendous. They were just awful. Everything was wrong. But then I showed you guys a clip a week later of me stretching every night before I go to bed, and my squat form had greatly improved. So the routine that I'm going to show you is a full body routine. And the reason is because stretching has a lot of healthy benefits. Two major ones that come to my mind right away, or two major reasons that come to my mind right away, is one, in today's day and age with our advancement in technology, we have become a sedentary society. So let me break this down to you in a real common sense example. So for the ease of explanation, let's say you have a desk job and you work a 9 to 5, so 8 hours. And on top of that, you have a 30-minute commute one way, or hour round trip. So for a week, with your work week and your traveling, that's 45 hours worth of sitting that we're doing. And now, on top of that, the average American watches 5 hours of television every day. So in 5 days, that's another 25 hours that we're just sitting, doing nothing, and our muscles are just, we're not using them at all. And so when you add those both together, you get 70 hours worth of sitting and doing nothing. And then when you take, there's only 24 hours in a day, times that by 5, you get 120 hours. So 70 divided by 120 hours is 0.58, or 58%. So 58% of the time, we are sitting, doing nothing, and our muscles aren't even working. Now let's just break this down even farther, just to drive this point home. Let's say you're getting 8 hours of the recommended sleep that you're supposed to get a day. So instead of a 24-hour day, you now have a 16-hour day. So you take 70 divided by, brain fire. So now you take 70 divided by 80, that leaves you at 0.88%, or 0.88, or 88% of the time we are not moving. But then we expect to go to the gym and do squats, which uses 250 muscles if done correctly, and now we can't wonder why we can't do them right. Another reason why stretching is so important is it has a lot of healthy benefits. One, it allows you to elongate your muscles that we're constantly contracting every time we go to the gym. Try to pump the blood in as hard as we can and make sure we're really contracting so we can grow those muscles. So now we're going to elongate it, we're going to stretch them back out, and that's going to allow them to properly heal. Also, that's also going to wash blood over your muscles, washing out the lactic acid that'll break down your muscle. And on top of that, stretching can be a real simple cure to some lower back problems, and also to other joint problems. You know, when people complain, oh, I don't do squats because my knees hurt. Sometimes it's just because your body's not flexible enough yet, and you're not properly aligned to do that complicated athletic exercise. But enough of this explanation, let's get into it, and let me show you my basic routine that I do. So the first stretch is known as shoulder extension. For this one, you're going to need something where you can place your hands above, higher than your head, like this shell. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be standing. You can be kneeling and doing this, so like I said, as long as your hands can be above your head, you can do this stretch. And all you're going to do is put your hands on whatever object it is, and just try to put your head through your arms. Real simple stretch. And then it's going to stretch out your chest, it's going to stretch out your underarms, and it's going to stretch out your lats a little bit, and also your shoulders. And some key rules to keep in mind while stretching. There's two big ones. First one, it's not like lifting. All pain isn't good pain. So yes, you might feel a nice little stretch, like a little stretch, and maybe just a little bit of pain. That's okay. But if you're really forcing, and you're just like, oh man, this hurts, or and you're doing overhand shoulder rolling, and you're trying to put your head all the way to the floor, and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna pop my shoulder out. Stop. Don't push it that hard. The second one is breathing. Now the second rule kind of helps keep the first rule in line, because you want to be able to breathe the whole time you're doing this exercise. So just nice and gentle in and out. And so if you're stretching and you think you're stretching too far, if you can't properly breathe, then that's probably telling you that you're pushing it too far. Just dial it back a little bit and you'll get there. Alright, next one up is the underarm shoulder stretch. This one, you're going to take your hands and you're going to place them behind you about shoulder width apart. And you're going to make sure your fingers are facing whatever direction is behind you. So the wall is behind me, my fingers are going to be facing the wall. And you're going to put your arms like this, and then you're going to slowly just scoot your butt forward until you get a nice nice good stretch. And this is also going to stretch your shoulders, and it's going to stretch out your biceps a little bit, and it's going to stretch out your chest. Alright, next up, we got the rear hand clasp. This one, you're going to take one hand, you're going to have to do this exercise twice because you have to alternate it. So for this one, I'm going to take my left hand, put it behind my back like this. Then you take your other hand, your free hand, bring it over your shoulder, and the key is to try to touch your hands together like this. But also another important note is to make sure that you're keeping posture. Make sure that this arm is, straight up and down or perpendicular to the floor, and then that you're standing straight and that you're able to breathe. Don't be trying to like chicken wing this arm or chicken wing that arm to try to make your fingers touch. If you can't get your fingers to touch, grab a simple towel. It's always easier to start with the towel in the hand that's going to be above. Put it behind your back, and then slowly inch them together. But see, I'm not using the towel as a crutch. I can still hold this position comfortably if someone took that towel away from me mid-stretch. So don't use the towel as trying to overextend again. Like I said, you want it to feel a nice good stretch. You don't want there to be any pain, and you also want to be able to remember to keep breathing. But this also brings up another key important note why stretching is so important. Because you see that way, with my left hand behind my back and my right hand above my shoulder, I'm able to touch my fingertips. Now let's try it with my left hand above my shoulder and my right hand behind my back. You see, I can't even come close. And you want to know why that is I've broken this collarbone a couple of times. So over time, my body has developed a muscle imbalance. And because of that, my left shoulder is a little bit weaker than my right. So which means I have to work on it not only with pushing weights, but I also have to work on stretching it out. So the next one that's up is the full body squat. Now we're going to start getting into the lower legs and start working on movements that are going to help with squat. So the first one is known as the full squat, or some like to call it the paleo squat. And all you're going to do is get in your squat position, so feet shoulder width apart, pointed outwards, and you're going to do exactly what it says. You're going to bring it right on down, and you're going to squat. Notice that I'm trying to keep my hips outwards, trying to keep my hips open, and my heels flat on the floor, and I'm sitting down just like there's an imaginary chair. And you just hold it just like this. If you can't come this far down, like I said, if it starts to hurt, then stop doing it. So if you can't come this far down and you can only come here or you can only come here, that's fine. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But the key is you want to remember posture, because if we're not going to stretch right, then you're not going to be gaining any of the benefits. And also remember, try to keep that back nice and straight. Pretend like you're about to just do you're trying to do a regular squat. So try to maintain the same exact posture that you would do with a squat. So next up, we have the kneeling lunge. This is also going to work on your hip adductors, and it's also going to work for your foreleg. It's going to work on your hamstrings, and for your behind leg, it's going to work on your quads. And basically what you're going to do is you're just going to plant your whatever foot you want to start with first. Plant that out and brace yourself. Push your other leg as far back as you can, making sure that we're still keeping a nice 90-degree angle with your front foot. And then once you get to this position, you want to try to imagine yourself pushing your hips towards the floor, and you just sit just like this. If you can't quite hold this position with just holding straight posture with your hands at your side, you can feel free to use your front knee to brace yourself and to hold control. Alright, 2 more stretches and then we're all done. So second to last stretch is just your simple butterfly stretch. You're going to put your feet together, bring them in, and pull them into your body at a nice comfortable position. And then after that, you're going to take your hands, wrap them around your ankles, and you'll take your elbows and you'll use that to push down on your knees. And you just open up your legs as far as possible. This is also going to work on your hip adductors. It's going to work on your groin, and it's also going to hit a little bit of the outside hip too. And normally when I do this stretch, I'll do one set. Like say I'll hold it for 30 seconds, I'll relax for another 15, and then I'll try to do it again and see if I can get it a little bit deeper. The last stretch is known as a lying twist. Bear with me for this one. I don't know if I'm going to be in the whole shot the whole time, but hopefully I can explain it well enough and you can see most of it where you can get the general idea. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay back and take your hands, put them off to your sides so you make a T with your body. And then I'm going to bring my right leg up, keeping my left leg flat against the ground. And if you can bring it up, if you can bring your leg straight up at a 90-degree angle at your hips, then that's great. But since I can't, feel free to bend your knee however much you need to make sure you get a 90-degree angle at your hips. And then you're just going to let that leg fall right on over to the opposite side. And so two key points to remember here that's going to help you with this stretch is one, your face or your neck is going to be turned the opposite direction of wherever your leg's falling. So if my leg's falling to the left, my head's turned to the right. Where I do it with my other leg, my head would be turned to the left as my leg falls to the right. And the other key point is that your shoulders always remain in contact with the ground. Because even right now, my foot isn't currently touching the floor, but my shoulders are still in contact with the floor, and I can still feel a nice stretch in my back, and you can also feel it in your chest. This is also going to stretch part of your chest as well. And then to further this stretch, you can take your left hand in this case and help push it to the floor, push your leg to the floor, but still keep your shoulders in contact with the ground. And now when doing this, you're going to get a nicer stretch in your lower back, and you're also going to get a little bit of stretch in your glutes. Almost forgot, this is for my flat-footed lifters. If you saw when I was shooting that squat scene, you see that I had really flat feet. Like my feet are literally as flat as the freaking floor. This can be a problem because our ankles tend to roll inward, and it can put a lot of strain on our calves and make your calf muscles really tight, and your muscles and your ankles can be imbalanced, and it can cause a whole lot of problems. We don't have really good flexible ankles, which is the problem for squats. A couple exercises that you can do. One is if you just stand on one foot, just simply standing on one foot and balancing yourself, that'll help strengthen the muscles in your ankle and help you get more flexibility as well. Another one is simply taking a ball. This is just a lacrosse ball. And you'll take it and you'll just roll it around underneath your foot. I mean, you can do it while you're watching TV, while you're standing. I'm doing it right now. You can't see it because I only have one person filming, but it's a really simple exercise and it helps a lot. So that's my stretching routine that I do every night before I go to bed. And that's what's helped me improve my squats. So remember, if you're going to start stretching, make it a habit. Just follow this basic routine and may your squats be deep and may they be heavy. Take it easy, guys. Peace.